figure had appeared outside the window at some point, seemingly staring at her without moving an inch. Confusion mixed with panic on Kath's face, and just at that moment,
So did you buy out Bond Street?
her husband's sudden appearance startled her. Once she caught her breath, she immediately told her husband Matthew to look at the strange man outside the window. But when Matthew leaned over to look, he didn't see anything at all. Kath quickly explained that she wasn't lying, but her husband seemed a bit helpless.
Oh, Cass, your imagination just it's a little bit out there sometimes.
Clearly, Matthew thought his wife was just seeing things, but his comfort didn't put Kath at ease, because there was something her husband didn't know. The night before, while driving home, she suddenly noticed a car parked on the side of the road ahead. A woman sat motionless inside, looking like she was drunk. The night was dark and it was pouring rain, so Kath didn't take a closer look and just left the area. But she never expected that the very next morning, the news would report the discovery of a woman's body. A woman had been murdered in her car. Only then did she realize that what she'd witnessed the night before was a crime scene. And that very evening at a friend's birthday party, Kath learned from her best friend Rachel that the victim was a woman named Jane, who worked at the same company as Rachel. That's when Kath suddenly remembered she actually knew this woman too. She and Jane had met at a party, hit it off, and even exchanged phone numbers. The victim turned out to be someone she knew, which made Kath's anxiety only grow stronger as bedtime approached. She urged her husband to fix the home alarm system as soon as possible. Clearly, she suspected the man at the window earlier wasn't a hallucination. He could very well be the killer. She worried she might become his next target. Thankfully, Matthew didn't brush her off and got up immediately to check the doors and windows. But the moment he left, Kath's phone suddenly rang. She quickly answered, but no one spoke on the other end, just a wave of noisy, garbled sounds.
Hello?
Matthew guessed it might just be a wrong number, and after confirming all doors and windows were locked, Kath felt slightly more at ease and didn't think much more about the call. But the next morning, more strange things happened. Kath was watching the news when she suddenly heard a noise at the door, but Matthew had clearly left for work early that morning. She quickly followed the sound to check the door.
Matt? Matt, is that you?
But found nothing unusual. She figured her nerves were just on edge, but the moment she turned around, a shadow flashed past behind her, and at that exact moment, her phone rang again. She quickly answered, and again, only the same noisy sounds came through, identical to the night before. While she was panicking, the doorbell rang. Thankfully, it was just an employee from the security company, sent over after a call to assess the layout for the alarm system. But the moment she opened the door, Kath regretted it. What if the man in front of her was the killer in disguise? She quickly blocked him at the door and put off the alarm decision until her husband returned. Seeing this, the man didn't say much and simply turned to leave. Afterward, Kath drove to the place where Jane had been killed. The moment she arrived, panic washed over her, and as she stood up, she spotted a single earring in the grass nearby. In an instant, her scalp went numb, because she had a pair of earrings exactly like that. She rushed home without stopping and frantically rummaged through her drawers. Sure enough, one of the earrings in her jewelry box was missing. What on earth was going on? How could her earring have ended up there? She clearly never got out of the car that night. The events kept getting stranger and stranger. Until evening, Kath didn't dare go out again. Thankfully, after a hot bath and a few sips of wine, she finally relaxed a bit. But the moment she closed her eyes and sank into the water, she suddenly felt someone pressing her down hard. She struggled desperately. But in the chaos, she couldn't see anyone there. She quickly called Matthew.
There was someone in the house.
What?
I was in the bed, and they were holding me down. I thought I was dead.
He immediately wanted to call the police, but Kath rushed to stop him, because she hadn't actually seen anyone, and even if the police came, she had no concrete evidence. But before long, the police showed up anyway, and not because Matthew had called them. They had come about Jane's case. They had just received an anonymous tip. On the night Jane was killed, someone had seen Kath in Blackwater Lane. Kath immediately admitted it, explaining she just hadn't had the courage to report it. At that moment, Matthew rushed home as well. Kath then described in detail what she had seen that night, and the police didn't find anything suspicious in her account. But knowing the truth, Matthew was a bit upset, because his wife had never told him any of this, and before she'd driven home that night, he had repeatedly warned her not to take Blackwater Lane, because the road was dark, narrow, and unsafe. But right now, Kath couldn't worry about that. She suspected that whoever had reported her was actually the one who killed Jane, because she hadn't seen anyone else that night. Maybe the killer was trying to mislead the police into suspecting her. Her words made Matthew set aside his anger. He had to leave on an important business trip the next day, so he needed to get the alarm system installed quickly. The next morning, Kath called her best friend Rachel, hoping she could come over and keep her company that night. Rachel agreed without hesitation, but just before heading out, that creepy ringtone went off again.
Hello?
Still, no one spoke. But this time, mixed in with the noise, there seemed to be the sound of someone gasping in pain. At that moment, the doorbell rang again, and the visitor turned out to be Kath's student.
Andrew, what are you doing here?
Andrew said he was cycling in the area and stopped by to return a book he'd borrowed from her, but Kath grew suspicious, because she had never told him she'd just moved here. Andrew quickly explained that a classmate who lived nearby had told him. Apparently, the old house was quite well known in the area. It had been vacant for a long time and had a reputation for being haunted. So when Kath suddenly moved in, people naturally took notice. Throughout the small talk, Kath stayed on guard. She was suspicious of everyone showing up at her door, especially since she'd long known that Andrew had a crush on her. Thankfully, Andrew acted normally and left after a few pleasantries. Soon, evening rolled around again, and that eerie atmosphere started spreading through the house once more. Rachel, who had planned to come over that night, called instead. She couldn't get away from a work obligation. Right after she hung up, Kath again heard the creak of a door. She cautiously went to check. A dark figure suddenly appeared behind the plastic sheeting at the door, but when she looked, no one was there. Back in her room, Kath felt suffocated, but before she could calm down, she caught sight of several tarot cards neatly laid out on the table, and the one in the middle clearly read, Death. It looked like some kind of warning. Then the phone rang again. The other end was still just noise and pained gasping. For a moment, Kath was so terrified she could barely breathe. But the strange occurrences didn't stop there. The bedroom door suddenly swung open on its own, and from the hallway outside echoed a woman's voice, calling Kath's name over and over. As if under a spell, Kath followed the voice down the hall, because it was her mother's voice. Sure enough, at the end of the hallway, she saw her mother's silhouette. But the next second, Kath stumbled and scrambled out of the room, quickly locking the door behind her. Whatever was inside seemed enraged to the extreme, desperately twisting the doorknob. With the sound of things being smashed inside,